Hello and welcome to the Geeks by Gaslight Podcast, the show you need to listen to for your monthly insight into the many wide worlds of geek culture. I am your host, Carroll, and I'm joined by two fantastic guests. First, you know him, you love him. He is a writer now for the story arc. Please welcome Dre Best.
Hey there, everyone. We're happy to be here. It's been Has it been a couple months? It feels like that.
I don't think it's been that long. You're still definitely have the most appearances on this show. Yeah. Also, for the first time ever, a good friend of ours, please welcome Mr. Victiny.
Hello, yes. It's a pleasure being on this thing.
It's great to have you, dude. Well, I guess we'll get right into the stories. First, here's the topic that I'm very excited to talk about. Oh boy. There's really only been one major trailer, I think, for this month. I mean, there's little other ones.
There's small ones.
There are small ones. But the one that we're going to talk about, oh boy.
This thing.
We got a first trailer for Sony's Morbius movie.
Yay.
Yay is right! I'm so happy! God. Being the cinephile that I am, I proudly acknowledge Venom as the highest achievement in all of cinema. There has never been a movie before it, like it, or I think ever in the history of time, forever. It's the greatest piece of art in any medium, anywhere, ever. So really the only thing that they needed to show is from the producers of Venom, and they already have all of my money.
Huh. This movie, man.
I didn't think they were actually going to make it. I really didn't. I really, it really was going to be one of those movies that it's like, hey, we're making a cyborg movie. And then they don't, because why would you do that?
Here's the thing. This movie doesn't really look all that bad, but it definitely doesn't look interesting.
It looks fine.
Like, the first half of the trailer is like somewhat engaging, I think.
So, from the gist of it, Michael Morbius is a guy that has a debilitating, like, degenerative disease. Maybe it's like ALS or something.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like a
scientist.
He's like a genius scientist who's in the professions of looking for a cure for his illness.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Oh, I got it! I'll be a vampire."
Yeah, it's like, how do you stop yourself from dying? Become undead. Makes sense. Yes.
It's really social commentary on the price of medicines today.
It's a healthcare about the American healthcare system. This deadass is going to be Do you know how in Infinity War there was just the scene where Spider-Man swinging through New York, like chasing after like the Dark Order or the Black Order.
Mm-hmm.
And he throws like a Quicken Loan sign at him, and it's very obvious product placement.
Yeah,
it's gonna be that, but Bernie 2020.
There's just gonna be like that one rich asshole who increased the price of all his medicine and bought that one really expensive album and broke it.
What was his fucking name? Martin Shkreli.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, that guy's a super villain.
Yeah. I had a question after I watched this movie, and I'm gonna ask it to both of you guys.
The trailer?
Yeah. Since kind of the modern age, just like CGI, has there been like a vampire movies that haven't made vampires look really stupid? Like where they're not surrounded by a big horde of dumb-looking CG bats or like leaping around like monkeys? Like,
I guess not.
Why is that what vampires look like?
I always thought the trailers for Dracula Untold didn't look that bad.
But I think it falls under the CGI.
There was the surrounded by CGI bats thing.
Mm-hmm.
I hate how like films right now are like portraying vampires as these like weird, like, I know they're supposed to be animalistic, but why do they move like apes? Like, why is that like the thing?
Bro, it started with Twilight, bro. They ruined vampires, bro. I'm mad about book for horny teenage girls.
Why is that Robert Pattinson guy getting work now?
Oh my god! What the fuck? You mean a really good actor with a decent like indie grindhouse career is getting rewarded by a giant film feature? Fuck you! You were in a movie for kids.
All of them should be blacklisted.
Oh my god!
Yes.
Didn't Anna Kendrick forget she was in Twilight?
Yeah, she had a tweet that was like, "Holy shit, I was in Twilight."
Yeah,
That's awesome.
End her career.
Oh yeah.
Cancel her.
Oh my god. No, you're right. You're right. We haven't really had like the gothic count in the castle.
Right, because like vampires go back to wearing lots of clothes and like not fucking being on all fours. They'd be like, I don't know. They're like supposed to be like rich people preying on the poor. Why are they on meth all the time now?
Because it's edgy and gritty and venom.
Oh yeah, also
Oh yeah, the big elephant in the room.
Yeah, the vultures in this movie.
Or at least Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
I guess it's okay. This opens up a lot of questions.
Yeah.
The question is not, is it in the MCU? The question is, does Amy Pascal and Sony think it's in the MCU? Because they really have been like, yeah, it is. And then Marvel's like, but it's not, though.
This seems like it pretty much is. I doubt they would allow this to happen if not.
So, if it is, man.
Yeah.
Venom crossover one, so Venom can be in the MCU too.
Yeah, it seems very similar to Venom, where it's like relatively detached. I think that's ultimately better for it. No,
everyone like agreed that I was pretty sure everyone agreed that Venom wasn't in the MCU, which was to the disappointment of millions.
I don't think people unanimously agreed on that. I know Tom Holland certainly doesn't.
He doesn't. Wait, he doesn't think it is, or he does think it is.
He does think it is.
Oh well, I guess he would know, right?
Right. I guess maybe the MCU doesn't listen. Disney doesn't like telling Tom Holland stuff.
That makes sense. Jared Leto looks fine. I think. I don't know. Jared Leto. Before we move on, Dre. What can you tell us about Morbius as a character?
Okay, so like more than you'd think.
Okay.
So like Morbius like has had a couple of solo runs. I actually like looked it up when this like movie was announced, and he's had a pretty good like history of like miniseries. Mm-hmm. So it's not like the weirdest character to pick. He's been on like teams with like Doctor Strange. He has like his own like rogues gallery, sorta.
Okay.
So there is like stuff to work with. It's not like Venom, where it's like that kind of makes sense to give him his own movie, even if Venom, that's arguable with Venom. Like it's not much, but there is something there. And so if people give a shit, which I don't think they do, I guess there's something.
Okay. I mean, originally a Spider-Man villain, correct?
Right. Originally a Spider-Man villain has not less associated with him. I think he shows up more in like Doctor Strange books.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And obviously like Blade stuff.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, because it's like, isn't that like, is Morbius involved with like the dimensional spider vampires that go and chase Spider-Man?
No.
That's another thing?
Because Morbius is like a science vampire.
Oh.
And those are like cosmic vampire. Man. Fuck Marlon. Bad character. Oh my god.
Vampires!
Cosmic vampires that only eat Spider-Men.
It's the best thing I've ever heard in my life. Second best thing. First best thing was everything that came out of Venom.
I think this movie will pass like a turd in the wind.
Like a turd in the wind. I keep seeing that trailer for Stars. Have you seen it on YouTube all the time where it's like, download the Stars app and you can watch Venom whenever you want. And it's just the scene. It's just the turd in the wind scene, which is so plot irrelevant because it's like the end of the movie. Huh. like when he eats that guy's head, I'm pretty sure that's like the end of the movie. Man, God, that movie's weird. Wait, no, it's not. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's not weird at all. Oh God, I have to not break character. Okay.
I do enjoy how eating someone's head is just a minor plot point at the end of the movie.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, everything's wrapped up.
I guess Venom eats.
Grab a
people,
snacky.
and it's not really addressed. That's an issue.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so I guess moving on from that onto some more, definitely more controversial news in the realm of video games, specifically Nintendo. Fans have been eagerly awaiting for a long time for the announcement of the fifth and final character in the first Super Smash Bros. Fighter Pass, and obviously there was a lot of hype and intrigue going into it because of a lot of the history of it. So anticipation was pretty high for this last character because we got, Joker was the first one. Holy shit, never been on a Nintendo console before. Hero, Banjo-Kazooie, both really, really long-time requested characters. And Terry Bogard, a very, he was a niche character, but one that everyone sort of acknowledged was deserving of the spot. And a character from Sakurai's childhood.
Mm-hmm.
More or less.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, anticipation was really, really high. A lot of people were saying Dante from Devil May Cry because of a tweet that was made by the Devil May Cry development team that there was going to be some Devil May Cry related announcement on the same day as the Smash Direct, as reliable as that always is. But no, there was a lot of anticipation, and Sakurai posted that he had this this picture of him holding up the these three fingers and the question marks, and speculation went wild. Everyone got up. We here in the PST got up at 6 a.m. To watch this direct. And Dre, what did we get?
Reach for my hand. It's Bailiff. Bailiff Fire Emblem.
Bailiff from Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Everyone was happy about it, and we all waited patiently for the character to come out, and then we did for a bit, and then we stopped.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Story over. Let's move on. No. Obviously, another Fire Emblem character is not what a lot of people wanted. I saw so many people tweeting about being mad at the Hose Mad tweets. Like, I have legitimate criticism. Stop just saying Hose Mad.
It was like, okay, right? They clearly knew that this was gonna upset people. Even though it was pretty predictable. Three Houses just came out and was the most successful Fire Emblem game, I believe.
Yeah, to date, I believe it sold the most.
Yeah. It was a big game. It's probably Nintendo's biggest release last year, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it totally made sense. People were upset because all the other characters had been third party.
There was Ring Fit Adventure
last
year.
There was Ring Fit Adventure.
That was the biggest head of any generation. It's like how when you go to the most successful brands, like media brands ever, it's like Pokemon, or like video game brands of all time. It's like Pokemon, Mario,
Q-tips.
Yeah, and then it just says the Wii series.
Yeah,
it's just that, but obviously number 1 Pokemon, number 2 Mario, number 3 Ring Fit Adventure.
Already one of Nintendo's best-selling franchises.
Of course.
Here's the thing. At this point, I like Bailiff in Smash, and I won't deny a lot of it is because it makes people mad.
Yeah, me too. Some men just want to watch the world burn, and I'm one of them.
It's a little evil.
No, it's funny. All I did was when I saw the announcement, because I got up at 6 a.m. to see it, and all I did was laugh hysterically because it's funny. Hose Mad.
What I think is interesting about it is that it's sort of unpredictable in its predictability.
Yeah.
People saw it coming, but they didn't really expect it in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because everything else came before was so out of left field. They were expecting an out of left field choice, so you didn't expect the obvious pick.
Right. So I think that their placement in the Fighter Pass makes a lot of sense, considering it's followed up by other announcements that people would be excited for. Just because
Yeah.
Sakurai finally got his pick, so he might as well like put it somewhere where it'll be preceded by actual like news people want.
I can't believe Smash fans are so spoiled. People are really complaining that there's a Nintendo character being added to Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, it's fucking dumb. I think that Byleth deserves to be in this game more than Corrin does.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Would I say there are too many Fire Emblem representatives in Super Smash Brothers? Yes. Is that a huge problem? Not really. It's a really successful and beloved Nintendo franchise. There does not need to be three representatives from one game.
Also, the Chrom and Lucina being just the copy paste kind of, of Marth is kind of like it adds more fuel to the fire. The fact that there's just too many.
Yeah.
There's like, but here's the thing. I think every franchise in Smash gets represented in different ways.
You're right.
There are tons of Zelda items in the game.
There's tons of Mario items.
Well, yeah, but the Zelda, I believe, has the most.
Makes sense.
And that's because Zelda is very much about its like items and like puzzle solving and stuff like that.
But bro, Smash was meant to be played with no items on. That's why it's the default setting, and that's the way that the creator plays. But wait. Fuck you. I lost because I got launch started to the blast zone at 30. And so that's not the way the game's supposed to be played.
But franchises like Pokemon and Fire Emblem, each game they add like at least 30 new characters. Pokemon, they're animals, but like characters that can be put in Smash. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine if they hadn't put a new Pokemon in since Brawl because it had so many representatives? Like what is that? Like, and same thing with Fire Emblem. Does there need to be 3 Awakening characters? Maybe, because it's like the only reason people give a shit about Fire Emblem right now.
That makes sense. The cast is so varied.
Yeah. The thing that really, like, for me with Byleth is I would be mad if they just put another run-of-the-mill sword-wielding lord. But the thing with Byleth is their moveset is unlike any other Fire Emblem character.
Right, he doesn't have a counter.
He doesn't have a counter.
I guess Robin doesn't either, but...
He has a sword, but, like, it's, like, more of a whip than anything.
Right.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, threaded sword things that make no sense but look cool.
A spear, an axe, and a fucking ridiculous bow.
Yeah, he's got like this sweet pole arm that he like shows out and that has like a stupid amount of reach, but it looks cool.
It's awesome.
What's interesting is that they could have copied one of the mechanics from Bayonetta with time spools with Byleth.
That would have been awesome. That would have been so awesome.
Guys, which time on every move?
Every move.
Give Byleth witch time might be the best thing for the Smash community ever.
You don't even dodge. You do a move and it goes.
Can you imagine? So remember when Bayonetta came out and she was like super broken in Smash 4? Because Corrin came out like right before that.
Yeah.
Or like they were released like around the same time. Can you imagine if Corrin was the one that was busted and it was a Fire Emblem character that was just dicking on everybody?
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
I don't think I'll die happy until a Fire Emblem character breaks the Smash meta.
Should we talk about the other announcement?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So they announced that we're getting 6 more fucking characters in this goddamn video game.
Please let this man rest.
I'm so tired. Let me rest, dude. Why am I going to have to deal with like another 2 years of who do you think's the next fighter is going to be? I don't know.
Early predictions.
No. Not allowed. If anybody comes up to me on the street, online, I don't care, and asks me who the next fire character is, they're losing their throat.
I don't know. If someone came up to me on the street and asked who the next character is with no context, I'd be really afraid.
Yeah, they're losing their throat. They're gone. They're gone. So don't do that to me.
So awesome.
So we're getting six new characters, but fuck it, because Bale is in the game, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited because I'm actually I'm real close to getting my Switch, and I'm gonna get Smash soon, and so that means that I get to play the video game.
Oh,
With
nice.
the actual new support coming out. I think it's cool. It's definitely the most DLC for a Smash game.
Oh, for sure. It
Yeah.
blows Smash 4 out of the water.
Yeah.
Wait!
What?
Altair's in the game.
Oh yeah, and Cuphead.
Who gives a shit about
Right.
Cuphead? Fucking
Altair from the Altair series.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we mention that it's not Assassin's Creed?
Yeah.
It's not Assassin's Creed. I've been trying to hunt down Altair since that direct came out. I can't find it.
Altair is the name of the protagonist from the first Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, I know that, but when did he get his Altair spinoff?
It didn't happen. I'm
then,
so
where is he from?
I don't know, man. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much all I have to say on Byleth and Smash. Ho's mad, that's a good thing. Shut up, babies, and eat your goddamn cookies. So moving on from that, let's move for something that's obviously going to be much less controversial than Screaming Gamers. The Oscars!
I don't know, there's a pretty gamer movie out right now.
The gamer movie's up for an Oscar. A couple of them.
Cuck?
Maybe too many.
No, but there may be a few gamer movies, but there's only one movie. There's only
There-
one movie. There's only one movie that's ever existed, and it's up for Best Picture, and it's called Joker.
There's only one movie that ever existed.
Yeah. This is the first real movie. All the other movies have been fucking fake.
Fan fiction.
It's been not just fake fan fiction. It's been made for you snowflakes, and now a real movie's come along to tell you how the world really is.
So the Oscars have their nominees out. When are they happening?
February.
Okay. I guess we'll be covering the winners, but I guess just to kind of go over the best picture and the categories that we care about.
Yeah.
Because
Sorry, cinematographers, you do
You're-
your work, but no.
and thankfully, Vic has seen in almost all the movies nominated for best
Yeah,
picture
that's
this year.
right.
Holy shit, she's fucking carrying us. So I'm gonna go down the list, and then we'll just say what you think of them if you've seen it or not, and what you guys thought. 1917.
It was good. I think the cinematography is actually really nice. The problem is, I think it has a bit of an issue differentiating itself from things within the same genre.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the way it's shot definitely sets it apart, and it's won before, so it's definitely a favorite going into Best Picture.
Yeah, the gimmick of the movie is that it's shot. It's not actually done in one take, but it's shot to be in one take, right?
Right.
Did it work?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think the camera trickery really worked out because it almost seems like it's from a single perspective the entire time. I'm thinking quite a bit of the lighting and the set pieces definitely were really impressive for it. I liked it quite a bit. It's just on the story side, I'm not quite sure if it has what it takes.
I've never seen one of these pretends to be in one take movies before. Or have they ever done the thing where the entire movie's appears to be in one take, and then the last thing they do is cut thing?
Probably.
I just thought about that. And I was like, that's something one of these movies should do.
No, because it just cuts to the opposite, and you just see the whole camera.
Yeah, that's the end of 1917. I didn't want to spoil it.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, it looks interesting. The thing that I was kind of worried about was, like you said, it's differentiating itself from the genre.
Mhm.
Set in World War I, looks pretty engaging. Might check it out. Ford versus Ferrari. This is one I saw with my dad because it's a dad movie.
It's a dad movie. What do you mean?
Well, the whole reason my dad wanted to go see it is because the main character's name is Carroll Shelby, and it's a man named Carroll, and it's spelled like my name. So that was why I wanted to see it.
Finally, some representation for you.
Yeah, finally the white man gets his chance. So Ford versus Ferrari. I was looking it up. Apparently they made this movie in 2016. Not this movie, but they made another movie about the same event.
Huh.
It was called the Great War of whatever. The Great Race War. Wait, no.
The Great Race
When was that? When that happened?
I don't know. It's called the 24-hour war. God damn it! No.
I think you're talking about the abandoned name for Cars 3.
I was talking about that.
That'd be awesome.
Cars 3.
No, that's Cars versus Planes.
No! Cars versus Planes. The culmination of that cinematic universe. So no, they made this movie. They made a movie just like this in 2016 with Adam fucking Carolla, which is why no one's ever heard. I saw Ford versus Ferrari with my dad, and it was fine. It's not a movie that really for me, I guess, and like I try to do my best to be as neutral of an audience member as I can be. I'm not very good at it, but just trying to appreciate a movie on its merits. To be honest, I really didn't think the two leads did all that great of a job. Not that they didn't do a good job, because they did fine, but like compared to some of their other work, like I've seen Christian Bale and Matt Damon be better in other things. It was directed fine, I guess. I don't know. I don't really have. It was a movie that really did not leave me with anything to talk about. If you like cars and you're interested in this subject, fuck it.
It is the slowest Fast and Furious I've ever seen.
If your dad, again, it's a movie to go see with your dad. He'll probably like it. I think mine did. Next movie. I'm so excited. Mm-hmm. This is finally it. This is it, Dre. The moment has come. We are finally going to talk about Joker on a podcast.
Uh-oh.
Damn it!
Yes! We've done it. We've avoided this because we don't want to be the Joker podcast people, but our time has now come. Dre,
this movie.
What did you think of Joker?
Fuck this movie. What? It's fine. Whatever. Okay, here's the thing. Joker's aight. It's aight. It's a very, very good performance. Has a really good atmosphere. Killer soundtrack.
Yeah.
Joker is it is your last high school essay. Your senior year of high school essay.
Do you mean in the sense of like, you've given up and just kind of fuck it at this point?
No. You have all the technical stuff down. You put a lot of effort into it, but you're a fucking high schooler. There's a ceiling on this. And Joker is not hitting its ceiling.
Yeah. No. I agree with pretty much everything. I guess the reason I'm not as negative on it is because I'm not as burned out by the Joker conversation as you definitely are. Because I definitely liked the movie. Joaquin Phoenix was fucking incredible. You're right, atmosphere, soundtrack, all good. There were some really good performances. The script was fine, and the directing was fine. And so ultimately, I feel like that brings down the movie from being like this great classic of like cinema. Ultimately, if you watch this movie, you watch it to see Joaquin Phoenix be incredible, because he is. Mm-hmm. That's what this is about. And I do appreciate trying to shine a light on the fact that, a lot of people who don't have money or coverage who are mentally ill don't get the support and help they need. And that, brings them to darker and darker psychological places. That's a message that resonates pretty well personally with me, but I don't know. There's definitely an ingredient missing in Joker, and that's pretty much the all I'll say on it. We need to move on, unless Vic. What do you have?
Yeah, I was going to bring up something about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I did enjoy it. I think in a soundtrack front, it was kind of not melding well. Like the staircase scene, I think they could have picked a different song. Mm-hmm. But generally, I think it was fine. Joaquin Phoenix, of course, as you mentioned, is incredible. The biggest issue I have on it is that it doesn't exactly feel like an original story, I guess, because there's Taxi Driver, which I'm sure the comparison's been made plenty of times.
Of course.
Just on the whole, the commentary. Plus, I don't think the end result of the message is quite...
It mixes healthy, a lot of messages.
Yeah, it doesn't really hit the bullseye.
Because the takeaway that I got is treat people with mental health issues well, or else they'll become killer clowns. It's not especially convincing, that argument, I feel.
I thought the message was black women are evil, but shows what I know.
Definitely is one of them. Whoops.
Hey, man.
Whoops.
Well, how did that get in there?
Yeah.
But
Gamer moment.
hey, it's in the movie.
It is.
It's really in the movie. Is that all you got to say on Joker?
Oh yeah.
Moving on. Let's blitz through some of these ones so we get through them kind of quickly. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I really liked it. I thought the pacing was a little slow, as far as Tarantino's work.
Mhm.
It really revs up in the last act, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit hard of a movie to describe without spoiling the premise.
Well, it doesn't
But
follow
it's very-
reality, right?
Right. It's very similar to Inglourious Bastards in a way.
Yeah. I really liked Inglourious Bastards. So it's if you're not familiar, which you are, but shut up, I want to feel like I'm teaching people things. It's about it's set around the time of the Manson murders in Hollywood, and Sharon Tate's a main character in it. But apparently, the movie doesn't end like how Inglourious Bastards like lit up the theater and killed Hitler or whatever.
Right. It's sort of Tarantino's retelling of history.
Yeah, he doesn't. He takes the setting, but he doesn't follow the actual events of history. Which is
I think part of the issue is that if you had no idea on the context of Sharon Tate and the Manson murders, you wouldn't really like follow it.
okay.
It doesn't really explain it, but at the same time, I'm not quite sure of how it would. So,
Okay, Parasite.
Ooh, Parasite. I really like this one. I think there was a lot of controversy leading up to it, definitely with the fact that it was in the foreign film category, and then it kind of got bumped up because we had no idea whether or not it would be nominated Best Picture.
Mm-hmm. Wait, so was it announced to be in the was it nominated for the foreign film category, and then people threw a hissy fit, and then it got put into the Best Picture category, or was it just announced with the rest?
It was announced for both, I believe.
Okay.
Which is interesting because we didn't know what the outcome would be, but I think the Academy just kind of made a decision to put it as Best Picture. Just
I mean, didn't Roma get nominated for both last year?
I believe it did. Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Did
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did. So no, this isn't the first time it's happened.
I will say that it's a very difficult movie to pin down. Like, the trailers tell you literally nothing about it.
Cool.
And that's not a fault of the trailers. It's just the fact that, like, taking any of the movies that's seen out of context and trying to, like, take the story from it would be damn near impossible.
Yeah. It's directed by Korean director Bong Joon-ho, who did Snowpiercer and Okja on Netflix, and maybe some other stuff you might have seen.
Yeah, I saw Okja. It's a very metaphorical film. Like, I don't want to say it's, like, specifically ham-fisted, but it's very clear that, like, what it's about. It's an interesting film regardless.
Yeah. No, I love Snowpiercer. They're making a show about it.
Are they?
Snowpiercer. Well, I think it was based on a book. Snowpiercer owns The Irishman.
Irishman. It's definitely a movie. I don't think I ever finished this one. This is one of the ones that, like, I started, but the time is very daunting.
Yeah. Fun fact, I was talking about it over Christmas dinner. I haven't seen it, but I was talking about it over Christmas dinner with my grandmother. And she literally said that her only problem with the Irishman is that it was too short. It was so good it needed to be long. It needed to be longer.
It was too short.
Yeah, she said it needed to be like an hour longer to really like. Yeah. Fuck my family. But yeah, okay.
Also, I can't believe it's directed by an MCU hater.
Oh yeah.
No. Shut up, the man's made enough good shit to shit on our stuff. It's fine. It literally doesn't matter at all. God damn. That annoyed me so much.
That whole controversy was just not. It shouldn't have happened.
Little Women.
I did not get around to seeing this one either, if only because it doesn't have a release yet. I think it's still in theaters, actually.
Oh boy. Okay. Jojo Rabbit. I saw this one. Jojo Rabbit. I love this movie. It's directed by Taika Waititi, and he on it. It's about this boy. It's a comedy. It's kind of a dark comedy-ish. But it's about a boy in Nazi Germany who's sort of been like brainwashed by the by the sort of Nazi idealism and like the image that's portrayed of Hitler in that country in that time. Because they were like, all the kids were told that Jews and Poles and non-Aryan races were like these subhuman like monster people,
right?
And so the kids just grew up thinking that was the way the world was. And so this kid has totally bought into all of that, but his mother is actually harboring a Jewish girl to protect her from the Nazis. And it's the movie's a lot about their relationship, but it's also about the little boy named Jojo and his relationship with Nazism, and it's brilliantly visually portrayed by having Taika Waititi as Jojo's imaginary friend Adolf Hitler.
Right, and that's the biggest takeaway I think from the trailers, definitely, because satirizing Hitler just like in cinema isn't unheard of. There's quite a few examples that just take him as this sort of generally the butt of the jokes. Like, have you ever seen The Producers?
I have not.
Producers,
but I'm familiar with it.
Musical movie. It's a few things, but basically, this really is Jojo Rabbit.
No, go ahead.
They produce it's these directors, and they want to they come up with a scheme where they'll take a bunch of investors' money, and then they'll produce a very shitty play on purpose, and then pocket all the money that they didn't poured into it because they poured so little. And so what they end up doing is making a musical called Springtime for Hitler.
That's where that's from.
And and so they cast like the perfect Hitler, and like they seek the worst director, the worst like set pieces, everything just to like stay below a certain budget so they can just pocket the rest. But then it ends up being a massive success. And so the investors start getting like, they start questioning what exactly happened with all their money. And so they just end up getting arrested for it.
That's great. No,
it's awesome.
No, honestly, the more that we can make fun of Hitler for being a fucking idiot, the more that I'll be happy. Because like, that whole ideology is just fucking stupid. Dangerous
bold stance.
Dangerous nonetheless, of course. But like, just what an idiot.
Right.
What a child. But okay, but anyway, moving on. Jojo Rabbit, real good, awesome director. I will pretty much watch anything he directs now. Marriage Story.
Marriage Story was really good. I just watched it recently, checking off the movies until the Oscars, which is a few more to go. Adam Driver gave a really good performance. Just Adam Driver's kind of a hot topic right now because of the S series.
We can say Star Wars.
No, they're coming.
They're coming.
Just turn the fuck around, Jesus Christ, and down the hatches.
Anyway, because of SW, they're
more like SJ. Got him.
He has kind of this.
I'm gonna do a lap. I'm gonna do a lap around my house.
He's
not like typecasted per se, but I think the perception of him as an actor is kind of hurt by the fact that like there's just so much controversy around the series. Like, just it's Star Wars.
Yeah, but Adam Driver's really good.
Yeah, when it comes to Marriage Story, it's a bit like Kramer vs. Kramer. If you ever saw that,
don't think so.
Kramer vs. Kramer is also a story about legal custody of a child, and Marriage Story is essentially just about a divorce. Except it's a story about how this couple, they really want to stay amicable in the end, but when it comes to actual like the dirty work with divvying up the money and all that, they find that there's not really a way to do that. And so Adam Driver stays like incredibly patient almost through the whole thing. And so you see that meme scene where he just like starts shouting and all that.
Yeah.
That scene is actually basically the only time that he like explodes out of the frustration, because the whole point leading up to it is like he's a he's a director in New York, but his plays never really get off the ground, and he has a lot that's just working against him. And at the same time, his wife, who was one of the people he'd cast in his plays, is divorcing him and then taking their kid to LA. So he needs to juggle the whole the LA business from New York while also maintaining his full-time job and seeing his kid, who doesn't really like want to see him. So it's a very shitty scenario. It's a bit of a hard movie to watch, if only because it's a bit of like an external stressor, which if you saw Uncut Gems this year, and Parasite to an extent. They're both very good films, but they make you feel like anxious, I suppose.
Oh, that's something that I'd like to bring up. I'm kind of disappointed that we don't get to say Academy Award nominee Adam Sandler for the rest of our lives.
Right, and Uncut Gems was incredible.
Yeah, I want to see that. I mean, I don't really care because I haven't seen it yet. But I just thought it would be funny because every time we talk about Adam Sandler, it have to be prefaced by Academy Award nominee.
There is Academy Award winner Suicide Squad.
Yes, yeah, it's the same energy. It's the same energy.
Speaking of Uncut Gems, though, is a kind of like an Oscar nominee that never was. It's definitely an extremely strong movie, and I think part of the reason that it got kind of like review bombed is the expectations that were set for Adam Sandler. But I think that's a problem within the industry, that the typecasting kind of makes it so that the audience just gets used to it. Like similar to Adam Driver and Marriage Story, where they both get settled in these roles that aren't exactly fair to them as actors. And referring to Robert Pattinson too, going back to the vampires.
Like Adam Sandler's a good actor. Like I don't like watching his movies because I don't find them all particularly that funny. But no, it'd be wrong to say he was untalented.
He can be good.
Oh yeah. Personally, I think he has a bit of like an angry dad energy in a way, which is like, it's just a thing that I've noticed, and definitely Uncut Gems. You can feel that as well, but I think it's really good just as a movie experience too, and it definitely got snubbed this year around.
The way I tried to sell my dad to go see it with me was that Kevin Garnett played. Yeah, that's sort of that's it for the Best Picture nominees. Nothing much to say on the other ones, at least from my perspective. Todd Phillips getting nominated for director for Joker makes sense, but I'm not really. Oh, for all the Best Picture nominee or the Best Actor nominee is Joker. That performance was incredible. So I think of all the awards, maybe soundtrack and cinematography and whatever. But performance, I'm really glad that Joaquin Phoenix got nominated because he's clearly one of the best actors alive.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's anything else that you guys want to say about the Oscars?
About the Oscars, I do want to say real quick about the animation category.
Okay.
Toy Story 4 and How to Train Your Dragon, I'm really not quite sure about their inclusion. Like, they're good, but
I mean, it's the Disney machine.
I will be upset, and I know you disagree on this, but I will be upset if Lion King wins Best Visual Effects because they're not implemented well. The technology it uses just doesn't work for that story.
That's fair. Do you think the nomination was worth it?
I think the nomination was inevitable. I don't know. I don't really think I have much of a stake.
I guess
it reminds me.
That's taking that horse in that race.
Some people that have opinions, unfortunately, are sort of upset that Robert Downey Jr.
Some people have opinions.
Yeah, it sucks. That Robert Downey Jr. was not nominated for Best Actor for Avengers Endgame, which, okay, if he was going to get nominated for playing Tony Stark, it would have been in Iron Man 1 or 3, because those are his best performances as that character. He's good in he's good to great in all the other ones. Yeah. He's always excellent, but those, I think, the first Iron Man and Iron Man 3 were his standout performances as that character. So, and it's, they were nominating Scorsese, who says he doesn't believe it's cinema. So
they're not. It wasn't going to happen.
Whatever.
It's just
one last thing, real quick, on the animation front. Mm-hmm. I always get reminded every time I see Disney within the animated feature film of last year, maybe 2 years ago, when Spider-Verse beat Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh yeah,
and they had those printouts that were printed that said best animated feature winner Wreck-It Ralph.
It was so man, that was such a good moment.
Because Disney always fucking wins. It's like,
yeah, I'm really rooting for Missing Link this time around. Personally,
I saw the trailers.
I don't really have. I like Laika, and I think they haven't won it yet. I don't think they've won.
They might have actually, maybe for Kubo.
Kubo might have done it.
Klaus is also very solid too, and it's on Netflix, so it's very easy, accessible.
Kubo was good. I don't think it won. I think a Disney movie came out that year.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say on the Oscars. Final thought?
It lost to Zootopia.
Of course it did.
Oh, you know what? I'm fine with that. Zootopia is really good.
It lost to fucking Jungle Book in one of the categories.
What?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, moving on from the Oscars. You know, Oscars tends to make some people mad, and their rage boils over. It boils and boils and boils until it explodes in a mountain of fire. Guthrie's Hot Takes is coming up right now.
Hello and welcome to Guthrie's Hot Takes, being recorded live in the UCSC Music Department and then edited in post-live in my apartment and then re-edited into the podcast live at wherever Carroll lives. It's your host, Guthrie Schooner, coming... I already said coming to you live, I'm not sure what to say now. Is this my future? Stammering over the intro of the Hot Take segment forever? Never getting to the actual segment? Just sitting here in the piano room, listening to someone else in the next door start playing on the piano, or whatever they're doing. God damn. Anyway, so the hot take this week is that, so I got this spam email in my university email account. It was for a quote-unquote job offer. Except they had the gall to just not put anything in the email body, and just send me a notepad document like it's a 2007 YouTube tutorial. Like this person is going to teach me how to install Roblox for free, set to a song like this. Like, come on. If you're gonna waste my time, at least make sure it's believable enough for me to fall for it. I didn't believe that crap for a second. You send me a notepad telling me to email someone else my real address. Come on. I'm like 0.1% smarter than that. It was like a 2007 YouTube tutorial. I'm not kidding though. Just a freaking notepad document. They had grammar errors in it. I'm so mad. Is my future just gonna be badly formatted spam emails and stammering over the intro of this segment forever? Is that my fate? Is that what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life? Till I die alone and cold? Anyway, play me out background music.
And we are back. Thanks, Guthrie. So, moving on to our favorite segment, recommendations. We have a pretty good set of topics. So I think I'll start us off. Little background story to this. I'm recommending the 3DS game Bravely Default. Background to this game, I bought this around the time that it came out for the 3DS, and I played a little bit of it. But there was this one boss. There was this dragon, not the bad dragons that you're thinking of if you played the game. The first dragon that you
Bad
fight,
dragon.
the kind of shitty dragon. I got stuck on this boss for, and I'm serious, nearly 6 years.
Jesus.
Huh.
I basically gave up. I tried to beat this boss for months and I couldn't, so I just gave up. And then I'd come back to it, and I came back to it once before, remembered why I stopped because I couldn't beat this fucking dragon, left again. And so, funny story about what got me to wanting to play it again. Dre, you're a friend of Sungwon Cho, aka Pro CD.
Yeah.
So he has he has those game RPG parody videos where he just has his own universe.
Yeah.
I watched a compilation of all of those and was like, this gets me in the mood to play an RPG. What's an RPG I have? Bravely Default. That's how that happened.
Good path.
So I dusted off the game, brought out my 3DS, and started playing. If you're not familiar with Bravely Default, it's essentially it started out as a Final Fantasy. not changed sort of in development. It's still considered to be. It's still pretty much in the Final Fantasy family. But it's not.
It's an extended cousin.
Yeah, it's extended cousin. It's basically a traditional RPG. With except for the unique battle system that gives the game its name. Which is that you can it's the way that you can either take turns and advance, or with the brave ability. So if you brave, you lose your next turn, but you get to take 2 turns right now. And you can do that multiple times. Or you can default, which means you sort of go into like a guard state, and you build up, and you build up turns to use them all at once, so that then you don't have to wait to take another turn after that. So it's a pretty good system. I've always been I've always been a real big fan of turn-based strategy games. I'm a huge Pokemon fan. I love XCOM. I also like RPGs quite a bit. So it really appeals to me. It doesn't really hold your hand all that much. I had to beat it on easy because I'm a punk.
It's actually pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's a pretty hard game. I was stuck on the 6-year boss on normal difficulty, if that makes me sound any cooler. I know it doesn't, but
don't forget also it's a gorgeous game too.
Oh fuck yeah. Visuals are great for 3DS. The characters are sort of tropey, but it works in the context of the story. I'm not gonna talk too much about the story because I don't want to spoil anything. And you really should play the game yourself. But
especially with the second one coming out.
Yeah, this is wait. the second one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bravely Default 2.
It sucks so much.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
I love Bravely Default 2 being 3. I think, wait, isn't it 4?
No, it's 3.
Yeah, it's 3.
Okay.
Bravely Default.
Bravely Default 2 is 3. It's so good.
God.
There's literally a trailer for Bravely Second at the end of the game. Yeah, it's oh god, I'm trying to think about stuff that I can say about it without spoiling it. Without spoiling it, there's a very, very good twist at the end.
Oh right.
Although I will say, one minor criticism, that twist takes fucking forever. Where basically you find out what the twist is, and then you just keep doing what you're doing, and then there's like the aha moment, and it's like, well, we already knew that. And that's a sort of complaint I have. But apparently there actually is a way to get an alternate ending if you just sort of act right away. But that's not what I did, because I didn't know that I got the true ending. I didn't really even know that there was more than one.
It's worth mentioning the soundtrack too.
Oh, the soundtrack's fucking it smacks. It smacks. Mm-hmm. It is a thumping game. Holy fuck, the boss music's so good.
I remember trying it a long time ago, and like I think I played the demo or some shit.
I did too.
And I was like, wow, this game's really pretty, and then I just kind of left it alone and forgot about it.
Yeah.
I remember when Bravely Default came out and was really successful, and Square Enix saying, wow, we're really surprised that this game was successful because like we didn't think that people liked turn-based RPGs. And it's like, you're Square Enix!
Yeah, Square really doesn't have like confidence in the games it makes.
Yeah, and they were like, yeah, we might consider refocusing back on turn-based RPGs.
Thank you, Square.
And then Octopath came out.
Final Fantasy VII's coming out, and it's Kingdom Hearts. So I guess that didn't stick. I guess they reconsidered that.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but to be fair with Octopath too, it's kind of a return form.
Yeah. It's like I say, it's made by the Octopath team, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to say they both are the same team, so.
Both looking very good in different ways.
No, I think the characters are pretty likable. There is one sort of dead spot in the middle where you just keep fighting the same bosses over and over and over and over and over and over again. That really demotivated me to play. But I did.
I think that the moment, without going into spoilers, with the subtitle "Flying Fairy," with like what they revealed as so fucking mind blowing.
Okay, so okay, I thank you because this was actually something I wanted to. There's the thing that some like pieces of media do where it's like there'll be like a subtitle or a piece of like media where it's just like the game and then for this case the title of the game, at least in the version that I had, the subtitle of the game was when the fairy flies or where the fairy flies.
Right, yeah, because it varies.
Yeah. And then it does a thing where it drops certain letters out from that statement to spell out a message, and it was supposed to make you, it was in front of you the whole time, even though there's.
It's so sick. Like it really, it jumps out at you.
Yeah.
But it's awesome.
No, it's like it's like the Tom Marvolo riddle, I am Lord Voldemort thing. Where it gets you. Yeah, it's my favorite feature in any RPG I've ever played is in this game.
What's that?
It is the ability to turn off random encounters.
Right, I heard about that.
You can. It's in the difficulty settings. There's a meter. There's like a fucking button, and then you could go down and you can get rid of random encounters, and you can walk through any dungeon you want without having to fight anything. It's the best thing ever. Because if you're
means that like you're under leveled at a certain point.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's a trade off. You have to know when to use it. Because if there's like a time where I just fought this big boss, I don't have a teleport crystal to get out of this dungeon. I'm super fucking hurt. I don't want to deal with enemies right now. I just want to go heal and then come back and make up my levels later. Then you can do that, and you're not punished for it.
That's really nice because older Final Fantasy titles like have a metric fuck ton of random encounters.
Yeah, and also they make grinding easier because you can turn random encounters up too if you want.
Oh,
so it's like, I turn random encounters to double, so I don't have to fucking like, walk around in like circles for like a minute to get a random encounter. So I can grind a bunch. It's an awesome system. I fucking so glad that I found that setting. Because if I didn't, man, I don't think I would have finished this game. Because random encounters can the least enjoyable point of RPGs. Because you're just trying to go about your life, and then it's just like some assholes jump out at you, and you're like, I just want to.
Yeah, I agree. When RPGs have like overworlds encounters that just kind of run at you, but you can avoid them, it's so much.
Yeah. The one thing I did say where the time I felt scummy for using it though, there was one time is that right at the end of the game there's this optional super dungeon that's like okay, if you go through this, it's basically each floor of the dungeon is like a floor from a dungeon that you've already been in, so it's like a greatest hits tour of all the dungeons.
Right.
And you get all the best items and like items and weapons in the game. If you go through here, but all the enemies are super tough. And I'm like, okay. Turns encounters down, walks through dungeon without touching anything, gets most powerful items in the game, and walks out.
Cool. Bastard shit, maybe.
Sorry, don't hate the player, hate the game. So that was the only time I was scummy for using it. But my God, was that game was that feature so good? I was another non-spoiler, but I will say in the final boss, most inventive use of the 3DS camera I've ever seen.
The 3DS had a lot of neat shit in certain games. It was really nice.
Yeah, but it's like no, the 3DS camera was utilized better than I've ever seen it before. There's great twists. Agnes is kind of a waifu, I guess. It ends a bit weird. This isn't really as glowing a recommendation as I feel like because I really liked it. It was super super fun. If you like JRPGs, check out Bravely Default before the sequel comes out. You won't regret it. Okay, that's my recommendation. Victini, what did you bring to the party?
So, speaking of Square Enix, I've been replaying Kingdom Hearts 3 recently.
Mm-hmm.
And Kingdom Hearts is one of my favorite series, just to preface. I've been playing it since a small little dumb child that played like 3 games, including Crash Bandicoot. But it's just a series that's really important to me, but it's also one that like has a lot of controversy at the same time.
Yeah.
3 came out like last year, but the DLC just launched, and so that's why I've been replaying it. And I think it's good. It's like it's hard to quite pinpoint just because the fan base is so divided on it, because there's like longtime fans that didn't quite like as much, and then longtime fans that content with it. Overall, it's not like necessarily great. Like it blew everyone's expectations out of the water. Personally, I loved it in that way, but it's not quite in agreement. But it's Kingdom Hearts. It's kind of a difficult story. Well, yeah, it's a difficult story, but it's kind of a difficult series to really describe without knowing like the basic premise. But you're bound to have heard of it at some point or another, because it's that very weird series that you saw your cousin playing one time and you just kind of want to for yourself.
Yeah. That's legitimately, it's literally how I found out about it. My cousin had it had Kingdom Hearts 2 on her PS2, and I was like, what?
I think it's like a universal experience at this point somehow.
Yeah.
But it starts as that weird game with like Cloud Strife and then Donald and Goofy. And it's like you're not quite sure what to make of it. But it's actually a really fun series, like taking the gameplay into account. Definitely 1 and 2 are worth playing if a little aged, but they've gotten remakes and facelifts, so I think it's
so many remakes.
Yeah. And the funny part is that 2 of the games are DS exclusive, and they never got remade with the modern battle system.
Yeah.
They were remade, but they're cutscene only, so it's literally 2 hours of like HD cutscene.
What?
DS game. Yeah.
So they wait, what? So they just took the game like cutscene? So like what those YouTubers do?
They only remade the.
That's hilarious.
But it's a huge shame because one of those games is super important to the story, but I guess I just didn't want to remake it because it's like on the DS. So and then the other game no one gives a shit about.
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
It's very Square Enix of them.
Yeah.
But going into 3, it's like the story is a hot mess. Everyone knows that. But personally, I find that really charming about it, and the fact that the story doesn't make any fucking sense. If only because it's like it's super earnest at the same time. So like it doesn't really hold any punches or try to pretend it's being something it's not, because it's fucking Mickey Mouse going through like Midgar, for example. It's not exactly like an idea that makes sense even on paper. So
didn't it happen
going into
because,
a video
like,
game format,
a Disney executive, Square executive, like took an elevator ride together, and then they talked about each other, and then they gave each other business cards, and then Kingdom Hearts happened?
Yeah, exactly. It was just it was a very weird exchange that's purely by chance, really. And I think that's part of the reason that, like, in its appeal is the fact that it's so weird. Because if it wasn't itself, it would just kind of be like Final Fantasy II. Like, literally a Final Fantasy, except within the battle style of, let's say the remake, or some of the 7 spin-offs.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking specifically of 3, I think that it does a really good job wrapping up the story, and for as well as you can do, really.
Mhm.
It gets a bit hand-wavy, like, the story explanation is like, oh, well, Mickey Mouse did this off-screen.
Oh.
Oh.
And it's like, in any other series, that would be ridiculous, and it is. But I think that, like, it's sort of desensitized by this point that you just kind of accept it. It's like...
sad. That's depressing, what?
Not in a bad way, though, I feel. It's like,
No, I know what
you
mean.
kind of roll with the punches at a certain point. It's like, when this video game tells you fucking, Cinderella is, like, this great cosmic entity that they need for this fucking machine, then you kind of just have to accept it. You can't argue with that at that point. But with 3, they finally brought in a new cast of Disney worlds, which a lot of times they recycle some of the old worlds. Like, for example, Halloween Town from Nightmare Before Christmas, you visit 4 times over 4 different games.
Yeah.
Which, by that point, dude, you have to, like, get fucking sick of Halloween Town. It's like...
You know what? You'd be surprised with that movie's fucking fan base,
It's
man.
so weird. I don't get it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's good, but it's just going to be on, like, emo kids' backpacks forever?
It's the Hot Topic movie.
No, it is a Hot Topic movie, and I don't, like... What? Why this? Whatever.
Speaking of 2, they recycle Wonderland a lot from Alice in Wonderland,
Mhm.
and it is my least favorite world in the series by far. It's just, it's horribly confusing. The layout doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
I guess
Wonderland,
supposed to be...
dude.
I guess it's supposed to be like whimsical and all that, but literally from a gameplay standpoint, it doesn't work.
I mean, that's sort of
So the fact,
that's sort of the point in the Alice in Wonderland books, is that it's like supposed to be like up is down, left is right. Nothing makes sense.
right? But there's a specific room early on in that world where the entire room changed orientation, so it might be like the ceiling becomes the floor or something, and that's neat. Except the exits aren't exactly clear. And so you'll find a door, but it'll be on like the fucking roof or something. So like, even in game, you just can't reach it for a while, and it gets terribly confusing as a world. But for Kingdom Hearts 3, they kind of did away with all the ones that they've done numerous times before, and they brought in Big Hero 6, Tangled, Frozen. Unfortunately, it's like Frozen's fine as an. The world is not good.
Aw.
So, if this is anything about it,
So,
they literally play Let It Go and Do You Want to Build a Snowman in the world during the game. So, like,
Do you want to build
the
a snowman
CG,
sounds annoying.
the CG looks really good. It almost looks like on par. So, they almost like recreate a one shot of Let It Go, except fucking Donald and Goofy are just there.
That's awesome.
It's so funny.
That's great.
They integrate like these random aspects that have no business being there, and then the world itself is just it's snow. So like they don't do the actual castle or nothing like that, or anything that would like make it memorable. It's just all white snow and mountains.
Wait, they don't do the ice castle?
No, they do the ice castle. They don't do the actual like the castle itself where they grow up.
Oh.
So like that would be the only semblance of a real building in the entire world.
Oh boy.
And then one of the funniest parts is that you remember the villain from that movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hans. He like shows up at the very end. He's not important whatsoever.
Oh.
Yeah.
In the actual game, you do fight him. Well, you fight his Heartless, so like his antagonist form, whatever.
Yeah, you'd kick the shit out of Hans, or the shit out of Hans if they actually fought.
But side note, you do fight Scar
Huh?
in one of the games, so it's literally like you're fighting a real lion.
Dude, I
So
could
you're
take
just
a-
beating
I
the
could take
shit
a
out of this.
lion.
No, you couldn't. You couldn't.
Shout
Lions are fucking
Shout out
scary.
to an actual Instagram post on my college's official. Instagram account where I made a joke about thinking I could take a lion in a fight, and then they filmed me saying that and put it on Instagram for everyone. That happened.
But I was saying about Frozen though, they show Hans, but he doesn't have a single line in the game.
It's funny.
They show him walking away with Elsa, like he captured her. But they never show his face. The only time you can see his face is if you look in the bios of each of the characters, which means in the world it doesn't even establish his name. They're like, oh, this dude just stole Elsa. We have to go beat him up now. It's so like it's somehow it assumes you've seen the movie, so like if you haven't, it's just completely random in the place.
It's funny.
Listen, everybody on the planet's seen Frozen at least twice.
Mhm.
Sucks.
Yeah, it's like even if you haven't, you have.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So is this the last Kingdom Hearts game?
Yes and no. It's the end of this arc, I think. The Xehanort Saga is what it's called, so that's main antagonist. But from here on they might continue, probably without Sora. We'll see.
Okay.
It's really funny though. They just confirmed a mobile game. Which knowing Kingdom Hearts, they've had a mobile game explain like a big chunk of the story before. But
Oh,
it was a gotcha. So like
yes!
you have this part of the entire overarching story that's very important that's hidden behind a gotcha.
That's hilarious. It's like how they actually explained bits of the Rise of Skywalker in Fortnite. It's like how that was
Yeah.
like a major plot point happened in the fucking Fortnite event. God,
But this mobile game's called Kingdom Hearts Dark Road, I think it is, which is the most normal sounding title they've ever had to date.
Yeah.
Dream Drop Distance. What does it mean?
Like my favorite fucking nonsense title is Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days.
What? So dumb.
So the title's actually really cool because it has 2 protagonists and it takes place over 358 days. And so it's supposed to be like divided by 2 amongst both of them. But like if you're looking at this fucking title on a store shelf and you're like 12, you're not gonna understand what like the
That
fuck they're
means.
trying to convey.
So I guess they never did Star Wars Land, huh?
No, like they had the
Nope.
opportunity, but I think
No companion
just-
Chewbacca. That's a shame.
the weirdest part is that they've done live action before. They did Tron Legacy, and they had pirates like 2 different times, and both of them were as live action as you can get for a PS2 game.
Yeah.
And it's the funniest thing. They have the Pirates of the Caribbean main theme, but it's in MIDI on like the PS2 sound front, so it sounds like fucking awful.
Oh no!
It's so funny. It's like
No, it was
it's
awesome.
like someone played the Pirates theme at a
Wait,
I love the Pirates of the Caribbean stage too. It made
wait, he's a pirate.
Yeah, exactly.
but
I
it
have
is,
to actually like play this at some point because it is so awful. It's the funniest.
Oh god! And I guess they never did MCU or that's
Nope.
you'd think.
I believe the most recent world they included in 2 was Big Hero 6, I want to say. And even then, that's like 2015. So that means basically anything before then they would have included, which I think the MCU merger happened after that.
No, MCU merger
Could be
happened in 2011.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then in that case, I have no fucking clue. It's just kind of like I really wanted Coco too, but I think it came out too late for that, which is unfortunate.
yeah.
Damn, that's a damn shame.
Mhm.
Is that the-
We'll get another Kingdom Hearts after Final Fantasy 16
Yeah.
in 2030.
Oh boy. But to wrap up on that, I really do recommend it. They have the HD packages, so 1.5, 2.5, which don't ask me about the titles. Or actually, really quick, they have 1, and they have 1.5, which is a remake, which is just HD. 2, which is the remake of 2 plus another game, and then they have a game called 2.8. And so 2.8 has a side story in it called 0.2.
I hate my life.
And so, Kingdom Hearts 3 in the title screen, in usual fashion, they don't actually show the title screen until like 3 hours into the actual game. And so, you're playing the prologue, but it's extremely long. And so you pass the initial tutorial, and then it flashes on screen Kingdom Hearts 2.9.
No.
So they it's 3, but like they're clearly just messing with everyone, and the fact that they're delaying the fact to get to 3. So
Square Enix is an evil company.
Square Enix might be evil. But it's definitely worth a playthrough. Just the series itself is very near and dear to me personally, and it has quite a few flaws. But I think if you accept it for like what it is and what's happening, and just kind of like go into the insanity at some point, it's a really great time.
Yeah. Yet another thing I don't understand about Kingdom Hearts. Nothing. I'm just doing a bit. It's fine. All right, is that everything you wanted to say?
Yeah.
All right, Dre, take us off. What did you bring to recommendations?
Man, everyone's talking about all these like great RPGs that they love.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to talk about an action game I don't like. This is the first time we've brought video games, by the way. I feel like this might be a first.
Wait, someone's brought a video game?
That everybody's brought a game.
Oh shit, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, history being made on GBG tonight.
Oh boy.
I've been doing a thing. Actually, you can follow this on the story or our blog. That'll be linked down below.
Mm-hmm.
This decade ended, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or last decade ended. This decade just started. All right. And so I kind of wanted to do like a big thing for it. For the ending of it. And so I asked a bunch of my friends to write down their top 10 favorite games of the last decade on a big Google Doc. Then I would put it on a wheel and then just spin that motherfucker and I'd play everything on it until 2025. So I've been doing this for like the last month. And I played Katamari Damacy and Spyro Reignited trilogy. The third game on this like big adventure I'm taking was Astral Chain, a game I had already bought but never really delved too much into. I bought it because it's a Platinum game and I'm a big fan of Platinum stuff. I love Bayonetta and MGR. They're both like in my top 20 favorite games. I love Vanquished. I even forgive Anarchy Reign. You know, I hate this game. I hate Astral Chain. It is, and it's again. Here's the thing with Astral Chain. It is every Platinum game mixed into one, and it does, and not in like a really good like it's just a random crock pot of shit. It's more just like looking at like a 5-year-old's room and you can't see the floor because everything's in the way. Astral Chain gets in your way, man. And because the thing is, Platinum games know how to make satisfying combat, right? That's like their thing.
Right.
Astral Chains takes every opportunity to rip you kicking and screaming away from its all right combat. This is the least satisfying like combat system I've seen from them. The big gimmick with this game is that you're a narc and that you have these like multitude of like demons on leashes that you're chained to, and you can like manipulate them, and they all have like, and there's like 5, and they have like different things they can do. One can shoot, one can cut, one can pick things up and throw it.
One can cuck?
Cuck.
What? Okay.
I'm sure I think they all could cuck, if I'm being real. So you have to like use these to like fight all the enemies. The thing is, you actually basically control it like fully while you're controlling your like main character. So you're controlling two things at once. And if that sounds like a lot, it is. And you never really get used to it. I'll also have to preface this. I don't have a pro controller.
Oof.
And this game clearly wants to be played with a pro controller.
Oof.
The controls are horribly uncomfortable. Well, the button mapping is like ridiculous and doesn't make sense. And their crouch is assigned to the same button that run is.
Oh.
Every level is introducing a new mechanic for you to fuck around with. And none of it feels fleshed out or interesting. The plot is a platinum game, so it doesn't really matter. Actually, one of the few things I will praise about this game, I really like its characters. I think the characters are very well designed, and I think they're likable.
I feel a butt coming.
But the one thing I don't understand is why the main character is a silent protagonist. You know, I'm actually a pretty big like defender of silent protagonists in a lot of cases. Not this one. This doesn't make sense. The game's very much written to be like a buddy cop, but your main character doesn't speak.
Oof.
So people will give you, you know, has everyone here seen a buddy cop movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. So you know the general beats of how the dialogue goes.
Pretty much.
One character sets up, the other character pays off, and gives you a satisfying conversation. It keeps going. They're just bouncing off each other.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's still written like that, but everyone just kind of sets up, and then your character yeah. That's it. That's how every conversation in Astral Chain ends, and it's horribly unsatisfying.
Aww.
This game, I'm so upset that I don't like this game. But everything it does irritates me. I've enjoyed one level out of the 7 I've played so far.
Boy.
And that's mainly because it doesn't interrupt your time with like unnecessary bullshit. This game has these like detective segments at the start of every level, and they're just the dirt worst. Do you remember Arkham Origins?
Oh yeah, boy do I ever.
You know the investigation in that?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It was.
This is worse. This
Oh.
is far worse. It's and like the world isn't like interesting enough. Listen, I understand why someone could like this game, but it is very much not for me, and I don't think it's a particularly good game either way. Hey, the world does not interest me. I find everything incredibly like obnoxious and like kind of and just kind of uninteresting.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the character designs. Outside of like the like supporting like police units, everything like all the monsters, the whole city, everything like just looks so like generic to me. It reuses assets like horrifically. Not assets, but like levels.
Oh.
Half of every level is set in a red like dimension that's nothing but blocks.
Oh.
The one thing like I don't like, you know, like people won't believe this, but I actually don't like ranting about shit I hate. So
Sometimes I do find that hard to.
So I don't want to just mindlessly go off on Astral Chain. I think it's just frustratingly like mediocre.
Yeah, and I think that's a big problem. It's like if something's bad, you can still have a lot to say about it. But if something's like middle of the road, it's really hard to.
It pisses me off. I'm playing it and I have an all right time sometimes, and then I keep having an all right time. Like, I'm not having fun time, but like an all right, non-offensive time, and then it just keeps fucking jabbing me in the ribs every once in a while, and I'm so sick of it. The game doesn't control well. The story is not interesting. Yeah, I don't think its gimmick is particularly like fun or all that like yeah, it's unique. But was this like a thing that anybody had ever wanted?
Yeah.
Like it does everything it does like slightly competently, you can get in another Platinum game done better.
Okay.
And yeah, that's it. Play Bayonetta. That game rules.
Okay. All right. So before we Dre, you had something that you wanted to talk about? New project?
Yeah, I talked about this. Me and a couple of friends have started up a new blog. Actually, technically, it's two. It's called Story Arc. It's there's a Blogspot and WordPress version available. It's just a bunch of people who like writing and nerd shit, writing about nerd shit.
Yeah.
We have a couple articles going up. If you're a fan of BoJack, we did a little speculation on the season that just came out a day before we recorded this.
Okay.
Yes. You can follow my like ongoing journaling of this like big project I'm doing where I'm playing all these games. We have a article about the best movies of last year that's being uploaded in 2 hours from now.
Oh.
So I would run over and read that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. No. If you liked hearing our friend Shred, Luke Rex, who was on the podcast, either last episode or the episode before that, I don't know. He's on the project too, and he knows a hell of a lot. He's awesome. Everyone who's working on this project is sharp as a whip. So keep your eye on this. It's definitely a good thing to keep in mind. Links to all of it will be down in the description. Please check it out. All right, that's gonna do it for this episode of the Geeks by Gaslight podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Special thanks to our producers Dre Best, Ronnie Diaz, and Scott Heemstra for making the show possible. Special thanks to Victiny for coming on the show. It was great to have you.
Hey, I had a lot of fun.
Thanks to our lead editor Guthrie Schooner, and thank you to Jack Ward for helping us design the thumbnail. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and leave a comment, follow us on Twitter, and join our Discord. The links to all of that will be down in the description below, and be sure to keep it locked right here for brand new episodes of the Geeks by Gaslight podcast every single goddamn month. But until then, take it easy, nerds.